Welcome everyone to the first World Bitcoin Forum hosted by Unit Conference. To kick things off today, we have got Zelko and Bitcoin QnA here from the RoninDojo team to give us a little bit of an overview about the platform and hopefully a little bit of a history about how they actually got into working with Bitcoin and what the future actually holds. So yeah, take it away, guys. And I'll be here for any questions. Any participants, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat while it's happening, and we'll let the gentleman get to them a little bit later on. Thank you so much, guys. Take it away.
Awesome. No, thank you. Thanks for having us. So I'll start. We'll do a little intro. So my name is BTCxZelko on Twitter, Telegram. Zelko is more than enough for me. I'm one of the co-founders of RoninDojo. Yeah, so we basically started this project as a way for Samourai users to have an easy way, right, to run their own dojo and to back their Bitcoin wallet, and then added features that we knew that we needed, and worked with the Samourai team and the Dojo team to implement all these features and make everything better and more streamlined. And so our focus is 100% about Bitcoin on-chain privacy and being sovereign individuals and trusting as little third parties as possible. So that's what we're all about. And I'll let QnA, who probably doesn't really need an introduction, but I'll let him do his little intro.
Yeah, hi everybody. Yeah, my name's Bitcoin QnA, and Q is more than enough. Yeah, so I'm, I guess you could probably call me a kind of Bitcoin educator. I sort of teach myself and then bring others, or try to bring others along on the journey with me by producing written content to help people understand the important tools that are out there to increase their freedom and their sovereignty when interacting with Bitcoin. Obviously, RoninDojo is one of the prominent ones there. So I'm a very minor contributor to the project, not in a sort of code base type thing. That's not my bag. I kind of just help out with education, documentation, and things like that. So that's my my quick intro. Zelko, you're muted.
Sorry, child emergency. Give me 2 minutes. Can you take this first slide for me, and I'll be right back?
Sure thing. Yeah. So as Zelko alluded to, RoninDojo is a node platform. So we'll get into the details of sort of what makes RoninDojo really great in the next couple of slides, and that's where Zelko is going to come out and shine. But I think it's prudent to start the slide with, or the talk with what a node is and what benefits it can bring to you as a Bitcoin user. So there goes a saying that you can see on the bottom of the slide there from Mr. Nick Szabo, a very famous Bitcoin contributor, that trusted third parties are security holes, which essentially means that anytime that you want to interact with Bitcoin and you need to do so via a third party, that is a security hole in your kind of your Bitcoin plan, if you like. As Bitcoiners, we try to push people to trust a minimum amount of third parties as possible. And one of the best ways that you can do that is by running a node. So if you run your own node, then any transactions that you receive are being verified by your own node. That means that you have your own copy of the Bitcoin blockchain, and that you have your own Bitcoin sort of rule set. So anybody that sends you Bitcoin, you're essentially, and your node does this on your behalf, it's kind of cross-referencing the transaction that they're proposing that they want to send to you against the copy of the rule set that is held within your node, so that your node is kind of it's got your back, and it's making sure that all of the payments that you receive play by the rules of the Bitcoin rule set that are sort of baked in at the protocol level, to make sure that the Bitcoin that you're receiving is actually a part of the network that everybody else agrees upon as part of the consensus network. So nodes have a lot of other benefits. Obviously, you can broadcast your own transactions so that you don't have to do that again through another third party. So that's a big improvement from a privacy perspective. That you don't have to rely on anybody else, another person or service to be able to send your transactions directly out to the wider network. You can also do, historical transaction queries in a private way. Again, just removing another third party, so that if you wanted to check the history of one of your pieces of Bitcoin, your UTXO, you can do that using your own hardware or software in a very private manner. Some nodes, again, there's many ways in which you can run a node, but generally speaking, it's quite a low barrier to entry. With a couple of $100, you can have a standalone node that runs 24/7, like a RoninDojo, and it's not a massive outlay in the grand scheme of things. It's going to last you a good few years. And one of the ones where RoninDojo kind of shines is 24/7 CoinJoin, of which we'll get into the importance of that a little bit later on and stress why that's a valuable tool in your toolkit. And you can also view the state of the mempool with all of the node implementation. So what that means is that, let's say you're proposing to send a transaction to somebody else, you can view your own copy of the mempool, which is the sort of the Bitcoin transaction queue, if you like, to see what sort of fee rate would be applicable to the transaction that you want to spend based on the priority at which you need your transaction to be processed or confirmed, as it were. With that one, I'll pass over to Zelko for the next slide.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, so the big question that we get, right, is what is Dojo? So Dojo is not just, Bitcoin Core and a little extra stuff. As you can see by the graphic, it's a pretty well organized, and unless you don't really know what you're looking at and it looks chaotic, but it's a complete Docker net. And with this stack, right, it allows for multiple different things. What it has is a bunch of different things built in, but by default, it comes with Bitcoin Core. It loads up and it connects everything, as you see, goes through the Tor network, which is probably arguably the most important part, is that all your communication network is broadcasted and receives information through the Tor network. So you're maintaining your privacy by default when you're using a Dojo. You don't need to forward any ports. You don't need to broadcast your external home IP address, and it uses different things in order to enhance your full node experience, such as it comes with its own RPC Explorer. It has its own indexer, which helps to import index addresses faster if you're recovering a wallet. Another really handy feature that I don't really think many people appreciated, or I didn't really appreciate it until recently, is when you import a wallet, it stores all the transactions into that XPub. From that XPub, all those transactions get stored into a database using MySQL or MariaDB. And so that makes pulling transactions that much faster after it's been imported. So including with that, there's also Whirlpool, and all of these connect and talk to each other inside of its own Docker network, which is pretty awesome, because again, it keeps everything together, allows it to communicate fast. But when we're broadcasting, we're moving out, or if we're trying to connect things externally to say your own RPC Explorer, or you're trying to connect, say, an Electrum Rust server as the indexer. If you're trying to connect those to an external place, you can just utilize the Tor network and a Tor hidden address. So those are all super handy features. And the default, what we like to call in the Samourai community, is Vanilla Dojo. Vanilla Dojo is designed for an x86 64-bit computer, or just like a full desktop computer. And running on Ubuntu is how they designed it. But again, coming from the community, I was a big Raspberry Pi user in the beginning, and there was no real good option to run on on like a different setup. So that's where we started to work with the other community members, and we started to figure it out, and then we automated everything, and that's how RoninDojo came into play. And yeah, so jumping into what is RoninDojo, God, such a great slideshow. I don't know who made that. Yeah, so RoninDojo, right? It's what separates us, because there are other node options that are out there that support Dojo. But what I talked about in the last slide was the default setup, right, has Bitcoin Core inside of it. It's a big factor that I don't think a lot of developers or teams really understand or appreciate. They're like, oh, well, I can just like connect it to my external core, and you can, and that doesn't mean that it's not possible. But when a system is designed a very specific way, and you're looking at how complicated that network system is, when you start to add in those advanced features, you have an option. It starts to cause more problems potentially, or at least it leaves you open to more problems. So we're a Dojo first implementation, meaning we run Dojo, we install Dojo, and that is what we focus our efforts on. And then from there, we can build out other features that might not necessarily be part of Dojo that we find valuable, such as mempool or Electrum server, or any of those other types of features. So yeah, what we looked to do is we have a Ronin OS that we have compiled based on Manjaro, and from there, which is an Arc-based Linux system, and from there we've streamlined the process and looking to release a plug and play version here shortly. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. We're going to try to pick up the pace a little bit because we don't have too long, but so the things that we do have a very easy, friendly, user-friendly command line interface, similar to what it was inspired by Raspberry Blitz, but just a very easy command line system. And then we recently developed and released the web UI, which is a nice command interface. And so you can go and check all your logs, do all of you can even do Xpub imports if you're recovering a wallet, or rescan different Xpubs the way we discussed earlier, instead of having to go to the Dojo maintenance tool. So you can do everything locally. It's accessible from your IP address of your node if you're on your local network, or via Tor browser. We have Whirlpool that will run 24/7 for all of your mixing and free remixes. Boltzmann, just quickly, is the calculator that was developed and that you see in like OXT, that tells you your entropy. So it tells you how private or chaotic, if you will, your transaction is. Whirlpool stat tool tells you how many, what your anonymity set is for any given UTXO. We have the RPC Explorer, mempool. We support Spectre server to run on your own backend. Electrum server, which you can connect to Sparrow, which we'll talk about here shortly. And then we also enable for easy implementation of connecting your full node to Bisq, so you can buy your node KYC sats. Sorry. And I did touch on this, but again, the really nice feature about the RoninUI is just the easy layout, that you can see everything that's going on, to include like what your system looks like, to make sure all of your containers are up and running the way that they need to be, what your current block height is for your core node, and how much space is left on your file system. And again, I think one of the coolest parts is just those the Dojo tools that you see. Comes with the Xpub tools where you can rescan. Yep, where you can rescan. You can check on transactions to see if you're not seeing a transaction potentially, you'll be able to rescan it and it should repopulate at that point. When in doubt though, restart your node, restart Dojo. It's pretty nice that if something's not working and you restart it, 99% of the time it'll start working. Okay. All right. This is a lot faster than I was ready for, but this is good. I like it. It's like rapid fire. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. So again, I think Boltzmann's one of the most underrated tools that we have. This is a graphic that we're working to design. If you're not used to this type of tool, what I recommend is actually checking out KYCP, knowyourcoinprivacy.org, I believe. QnA, you can fact check
Yeah,
me
that's
if I'm wrong.
correct.
Hell yeah. I have my own, so I don't need to use it, right? So yeah, what it tells you is your entropy, right? And that's determined by number of bits. And in a Whirlpool transaction, it's 10 point, correct me, you got me, QnA, do you remember?
You've got me, you've stumped me now. It's
Damn
definitely
it.
above 10.
All right, that was close. And that is as ideal or as perfect of entropy that you could have in a Bitcoin transaction where you have to pay for miner fees. And so it just tells you the number of inputs, potential number of outputs that are linked and how they are linked. So obviously you don't want to have address reuse, and you don't want to have the more randomness that is possible, the better off your transaction is. So this is just a way for you to verify how private your transaction was. And you can add to it if you need to, QnA. Yeah.
Yeah. So whilst RoninDojo is massively married to the Samourai Wallet project, we make Samourai interaction is absolutely paramount in everything that we do in terms of development. So we make sure that everything about our Samourai Wallet integration is absolutely first and foremost. But given that we do add other tools such as Spectre Desktop or an Electrum server that acts as the sort of backend server for many of the wallets that you can see on screen. We do actually support pretty much every single wallet in the space. Anything that is backed by an Electrum server, we can connect to. Any of your popular hardware wallets, such as Foundation Devices Passport or Cold Card, Ledger, Trezor, all of those, they can all talk to Spectre or Sparrow, which you can back by your own RoninDojo as well. So I think it's a little known fact, because we focus so much on the Samourai side of things, that you can actually use pretty much any wallet with RoninDojo as well. So in terms of how you get started with RoninDojo, this sort of focuses more on the DIY aspect of the project, which is where it draws its origins. We do have a recommended hardware list on our wiki page, which is just wiki.ronindojo.io. It's essentially, you can buy the kit. It's 10 minutes to sort of put the hardware together, a single board computer, a couple of power cables, an Ethernet cable, and your hard drive, and you're away. Then a simple flashing of the SD card. So what you're going to be doing there is adding the RoninDojo software onto a little micro SD card, inserting that into the device, and then just following through the guided setup, which takes no more than sort of 5 minutes to go through the guided setup, and then everything else after that is completely scripted by Zelko and the other developers. That's the beauty of the software, is that once you've done that initial sort of 5 or 10 minute setup, it kind of goes through the motions then for you on your behalf, does all of the installs. So it'll take about sort of 40 minutes to do the initial install. After that, it'll automatically start with the IBD, which is known as the initial block download, which is where you are downloading your own copy of the blockchain onto the hardware that you've just bought and built yourself. So depending on your internet connection, and there are some nuances between the different hardware that you can buy. That'll be done anywhere between 3 and 5 days. And then after that, it's just about keeping up with the blockchain, which again, it runs 24/7, and it'll just sit in your office, in your bedroom, wherever you decide to sit the RoninDojo, just waiting for you to sort of transact with it, and to it's basically, it's just always there for you whenever you're going to need it in terms of transactions.
So,
Still muted. There
yeah,
you
no,
go.
no, you're good. So one of the other big features, right, just to mention with that last slide is that for the Ronin OS, not most of these node specialized software for the OS. For us, we try to keep it as like minimize as much trust as possible. So if you really don't want to trust us, you can download and run Manjaro ARM operating system, and then download our repo and just run the setup from there. We wanted to set it up in a way that you didn't have to trust us with the operating system. Just to be clear, that's one of the things we do take pride in our ability to mitigate trust as much as possible. I just want to add that piece in there. But you can go to the next one. Now, if you do trust us, which you should, but hey, it is Bitcoin and we are privacy advocates, right? So we've been blessed with a really awesome contributor who designed this CNC milled metal case. It's aluminum case made of solid block of aluminum, and so it acts as a passive cooler as well. But it's a premium hardware or premium hardware case that is going to be plug and play. So if you trust us and you want to run that, we're going to be releasing that in the very near future. And just to be clear, we're not in a rush to rush out any software that's not ready. So we want to make sure that everything is well tested and ready for consumer use. But they are pretty sexy, if I don't say so myself. And we also have 3D printed cases that if you're a 3D printer, if you have a 3D printer yourself or have a buddy, you can also 3D print these awesome cases. Those are both designed for the Rock Pro 64. We do have 3D printed cases coming, 3D printed files for a Raspberry Pi 4 with a Geekworm setup, which is our recommended Raspberry Pi setup as well. But coming down the line, we're also going to be supporting the full desktop support, and we do have, I mean, I don't know, I haven't seen all of the premium support chat rooms, but I would argue that we probably have the best support in the game. I mean, we have Bitcoin QnA. You can't really ask for much more than that. And we have, I mean, that's true, but we have other really great community members who've been there to help out, such as Brother Rabbit, and then us developers are also in the rooms. We sit on Telegram probably way too much than we probably should, and we're always there to help out our users. And coming down the line, so refugee program, what that really just means is that we're going to allow for easy transitions. Say that you started with an Umbro, which is probably our #1 consumer base for switching over. Shout out to Umbro. But people just want to run Dojo. So then they say, hey, I'm going to run RoninDojo, and we're going to make it, we have a script that's coming that will detect your setup, and then we'll just import that initial block download and get you started a lot faster. We're also going to include Luke's encryption that'll come with the plug and play, where your entire hard drive is going to be encrypted by default, so you'll be able to set that up and keep everything secure in the event that you need to move, or if it was taken or stolen. It's going to be encrypted, and there's nothing that anyone can do to take any of your data. Though, to be clear, there are no coins that are kept on your RoninDojo. All your private keys are stored with your wallet. So it is one less threat model, at least in my mind. Okay, hit the next one. So yeah, our websites, we have RoninDojo.io. That's our broad website that has a lot of our information and what our goals are. I will say our wiki page, which QnA has had a huge input on. They are that's definitely the place to go if you're trying to find out more about RoninDojo and you want to see a little bit of the things that we offer and how to get going. I would head to the wiki .ronindojo.io. Again, we're on Telegram all over the place. It's we're always online, so you can check us out at RoninDojo UI, and then our code bases is hosted on GitLab at the code.samurai.io. And these are just our team members that we have. So myself and STL1 are the co-founders. Like is our lead backend developer. Pavel is our lead front-end developer. Crazy K, Miguel, and QnA are multifunctional. They kind of do everything else. And then our newest addition is Markets by Lily. That she's our marketing lead. But sorry, my son's jumped back in the room.
No worries, I'll take over. We've also got a shout out to Brother Rabbit as well, who I forgot to put on the slide deck, so I apologize to him. So I'll just take over while Zelko goes to see to his son. We just wanted to quickly, just a couple of minutes, to talk about some really additional, two additional tools that are really important in my mind in terms of personal sovereignty, and they go hand in hand with the RoninDojo project. And first one is Samourai Wallet, which is a desktop wallet that is absolutely packed with features. It's completely open sourced, and it offers a really easy way to get started, especially in terms of interacting with any hardware wallets that you might have. You don't actually, the way that Sparrow is set up, there's 3 different sort of back-end options, so you don't actually have to run your own node if you just want to try Sparrow, so which I think is a really powerful tool to sort of get people onboarded. But as and when you do get yourself set up with a node, hopefully it's a RoninDojo, then you can move to you can take the next step and sort of connect Sparrow to your RoninDojo to reap all the benefits that we've just spoken about. Another one, another bonus feature that Sparrow has recently implemented in the last couple of weeks is Whirlpool CoinJoin, which we've spoken about briefly today. So you can actually take part in CoinJoins directly from within Sparrow, which means that you don't actually need a Samourai Wallet anymore to take part in Whirlpool CoinJoins, which I know was a bit of a barrier to entry for those of you that were diehard Apple fans and didn't quite want to make the leap to Android. And finally, Sparrow's added a really great tool that allows the ability to easily mix directly into your cold storage wallets. So where previously there was kind of an extra hop or an extra user intervention to get from Whirlpool to your cold storage, now you can do that automatically within Sparrow. And the last tool, talking about cold storage, is the Passport hardware wallet. Again, completely free and open source. All of the hardware and all of the software is absolutely open source. It's got a completely air-gapped operation. It leverages Bitcoin's PSBT, partially signed Bitcoin transaction features. So it interacts with desktop or phone wallets via the use of animated QR codes, or you can pass information back from a micro SD card. So it maintains, it's a device that manages your private keys, but it absolutely there's no physical way, there's no ports on it. Even if you try to connect it to a computer, you can't because there's no ports on it. It offers encrypted backups. And obviously, as is most of the hardware wallets these days, it plays really well with either single or multi-sig, depending on your setup. And I'm a little bit biased because I will be open and honest, say that I do work for Foundation Devices, but they do absolutely have the best UI in the hardware wallet game. They really do make sort of interacting safely and securely with your cold storage an absolute breeze. And if you want to learn more about them, you can go to foundationdevices.com. And that puts us 1 minute early, Zelko. I think we've smashed it there.
Yeah, we hit the time on the money.
Amazing, guys. That was very well done. Very well timed as well. Sorry, I had to join another session, but I guess we don't have too much time for questions at this point. If anyone does have any questions, I would like to get in touch with you guys specifically on what's the best place for them to actually go to reach out for support or questions. Would that be website or your Telegram channel, or what is it?
Yeah, I've just put it on screen now, so you can drop into the Telegram, probably the best place, which is t.me/RoninDojo UI.
Fabulous. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining today. Zelko, hope you get yourself some good rest. It's definitely very early for you there.
I know, right? Yeah. Get my son back to sleep. Yeah. Thanks for having us. And yeah, feel free to drop any questions towards us, and yeah, take back your privacy, guys.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. All the best.